AM 1160. Good morning. AccuWeather says mostly cloudy, increasingly windy today, and a high of 44 degrees. And just because I said increasingly windy, that is not serving as my introduction to Lisa Spencer. From the Indiana County Department of Human Services, our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Isn't that a terrible way to introduce you?
No, that's fine because my staff would appreciate that. No problem. But I really did want to talk about our point in time count that's coming on January 26th.
Oh, it's time for that, huh?
Yeah, it feels like it gets quicker every year, but we really. What I love about this is that it pulls so many different organizations together to work as a team, and because we're all really trying to accomplish the same mission and trying to assist people and, help people try to get into stable housing, get out of the cold, and this is something that is federally mandated from HUD, so across every state in the country, every county is required to do this one time a year in January, so ours we're the last Wednesday of the month.
And last year, I think you did it a little differently than you did it before, right?
Yes, we had to last year just because of the COVID restrictions. So we weren't able to do as much outreach as we had done in the past, and we did not have the kind of like the afternoon, early evening reception thing over at New Life Community Church at the mall because of COVID concerns, because we didn't want people gathering into small places. So we are not doing that again this year for the same concern, just because as the numbers of COVID or any of the variants tick back up, we just want to be as safe as possible.
Mm-hmm. So
but right now, what we're really working on is our outreach campaign right now. So that is, Maureen's extremely busy right now with sending out emails and hard copy letters and flyers to the churches, the schools, police departments, fire departments, all the municipalities and the boroughs, and anybody else that we have on our contact list. We've sent all of them through our email lists, through all the groups that we belong to, so we can just continue to really expand the awareness of how important this really is for Indiana County, because we really do want to make sure that nobody is outside in the cold.
Yeah. And I know that's been really, really difficult in past years to actually find the definition of a homeless person here in Indiana County, because it's not somebody living under a bridge, which is the more common image that we have of it, but an incorrect image. It's a really broad definition, isn't it?
Yes. Well, the hard part about Indiana County is, one, we're so rural, and so it's impossible to canvass all the rural areas, but we do not have people who are experiencing homelessness. We generally don't have them outside under the bridge or, in the parks or whatever, but we know that we do have people that are living out of their cars. And the thing is, we just want them to understand, there is help out there. We're trying really hard to explain to all the, businesses, if you come across somebody, please have them go to ICAP, because the hardest part for us this year is we do not have the emergency shelter open, the 24 shelter, because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So ICAP is using some of their extra apartments. Well, they designated some extra apartments for us that we're using like the emergency shelter. So it's not quite as big as what the shelter can hold, but we're doing the best we can at this time. But Indiana County really doesn't have people out on the streets. We did find a person out in the woods once, like pretty close to town, but he did not want any assistance. And we did find somebody down at one of the sheets in the past. But again, we did help him. We just have to be careful, because we have to be able to offer assistance, but we can't force assistance on people.
Yeah.
So that's hard. It's hard to walk away from people when they don't want any help. But
it's an odd system, but it's the way that the system is. So you have to work within that framework. We understand that.
Yes, yeah, and also for what HUD considers homeless, if you're bunked up on somebody's floor and you're over 24, that's not considered being homeless. But if you're 18 to 24 years old and you're sleeping on somebody's floor, we could count somebody in the youth count for that if they're like on their own and they don't have parents with them. So but it's so incredibly hard to find people when they're in their homes. It's just hard to do.
Is there an opportunity, Lisa, for folks who know of somebody to contact you or somebody else and say, here's a person who is in need of help, and maybe they don't even know it?
Yes, I think what we should do is all the calls we want to have go to ICAP so we keep it consistent, since they manage the housing programs in the county. So that number would be 724-465-2657, and that's ICAP. You can ask for Vicki Allen. In fact, yesterday afternoon, I was down in Blairsville distributing flyers to many businesses and to different places up on 22 and also down in town. And I think I hit about 25 or 26 businesses, just so we want to keep everybody aware of what we're doing in case they come across anyone who's maybe just sitting in their dining room at a McDonald's or a Burger King, and maybe they just don't have anywhere to go, but they want to be warm. But this way they'll be able to give them the number to get a hold of ICAP and to see, because the homeless case managers can be dispatched out to wherever anybody is in Indiana County.
Yeah. We're talking with Lisa Spencer, Indiana County Department of Human Services. Lisa, I want to backtrack to something that we did last summer. It was quite an undertaking for your department, and that was the rent assistance program that was put in place for the pandemic, and the amount of money that was available. Obviously, we didn't spend $5 million, but that program did enter a second phase, did it not? And does Indiana County have a role in that second phase?
Yes, it did. It did end up in a second phase. In fact, yesterday we had just received the guidance for the INR, for the instructions and requirements for the guidelines for that program. Mm-hmm. So we did receive an allocation on the first 40% of the next allocation we had already received, but we were waiting to see how we were allowed to spend it, because we definitely don't want to do anything outside the lines, because we want to make sure we follow the rules so we wouldn't get in any trouble legally. So that money just came in, and then a second allotment for we're calling it the ERAP 2 program. Mm-hmm. ERAP 1, Emergency Rental / Utility Assistance Program, that's still moving on. And no, we have not spent our $5 million allotment, but I'm just trying to pull up here real quickly to see where we are with that, if I can.
We did keep that $5 million, though, didn't we? We didn't have to turn that back in. Not that we can use it, but we did keep it for Indiana County?
No, we actually, let's see here. I'm just looking at our things right now. We actually spent, let's see here.
I think I had a figure of about $300,000.
Yeah, we had to send back $3,493,215. We had to send that back because some of the counties were over already, and they were out of money. Some of the really, really large counties, like Philly, was definitely out of money, and
Allegheny.
Yeah, they were out of money, so they took money back that wasn't really being spent from the smaller counties, because we had so much surplus. And let me just see if I can do this for you real fast.
Okay. Boy, this is live radio. Lisa, we can hear you pounding the keys there on the keyboard. This is exciting.
Well, trying to get accurate for you, because I like accuracy. But we'll see. I just, the one thing to remember, too, is that there are limits on those programs. So even if we do help somebody, there are limits to what we can actually do for people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's an 18-month limit between both programs. So really the key to both of this is to make sure that people are in housing that's affordable, that they can afford, and if we can get them help get them caught up on their utilities and get them up to date on their rent. And then they can, take over, because eventually they're going to have to start paying all their rent back. Start paying their rent on their own. And so we want to set people up to be successful. We don't want to have people, use all the money in ERAP, and then the next month when they're not getting assistance, they get evicted. That doesn't help anybody. So it looks like, by my quick calculations, that our ERAP has spent roughly $642,384.
That's pretty good
for Indiana County, and that's ERAP 1 only, since we really haven't jumped into ERAP 2 yet.
Yeah, but we'll be learning more about that as the weeks and months ensue. Lisa Spencer, Indiana County Department of Human Services, with us here this morning. Anything else we need to pass along to folks real quickly in this final minute?
Yeah, I just want to let people know that we will be working with Renda again to get it like another campaign out, probably through, I think, Facebooking. That kind of seemed like that was pretty good for us, the geo-targeting, and the ads on the radio and things. So we will try to do another round of those for the ERAP 2, just so people can be aware of where the help is. But it's always going to go back to ICAP at 724-465-2657.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Lisa, thank you so much. We'll talk with you soon, I'm sure.
Yes, and Happy New Year.
And to you as well. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. Couple of minutes away from the top of the hour. Fox News coming your way then at 9 o'clock. And then Josh Woodison from our WCCS newsroom. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank.